Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we will learn something about adding an image to our home page. So right now if we actually open up the home page, which is books, as you could see, these are our titles, and if you actually open this thing up, as you could see, this actually has a simple name and the author name, that is the book name and the author name, and we did not display any more details related to this particular book. So what we could do here is that we could actually go ahead and have a reference to a particular image, and let's say that image is the book cover. So we will learn how to add a book cover to each and every book in this lecture. So the first thing which you need to do is that you actually need to open up the models.py file. So let me open up the models.py file in books, and here you actually need to go ahead and add in a brand new field. So that field is going to be, let's say, book image. So what you can do here is that you could type in book underscore image, and this is actually going to be a field which will store the exact URL or the path of the image. So you need to type in models.car field, and here let's say the maximum length is going to be 1000 because the image URL may be a bit long. So once you make this change, what you could do is that you could go on the you could open up your terminal, and you actually need to make migrations once you actually make some changes over here. So the first job would be to stop the server if it's running, and to make the migrations you first need to type in python manage.py make migrations, and that is going to be books. So once we type this thing, as you could see, and what this actually says is that you're adding a particular thing in your model, that is you're adding one more data field. But the thing is that currently we have two items in our database and the value for the image is not assigned to them yet. So what we do in this case is that we provide the first option, that would be default, and here we simply type in this blank thing here, which is actually going to assign a default value of null to that particular field. So after this, once you have made the migrations, the next thing which you need to do is that you need to type in python manage.py migrate, hit enter, and that is actually going to apply the migrations. And the next thing which you need to do in order to check if that field is added is that you actually need to go to the admin. So let's type in this /admin, and I guess before that you actually need to run the server. So python manage.py run server should be the command which you need to type in, and then let's go to the admin page and let's type in the username which we have and your password, hit enter. And as you could see, now we have the books field, and when you open this thing up, and if you open any of these books, as you could see, there is a place for book image. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to add the book image from the Django admin. So what you need to do here is that you actually need to find a copyright free image. So simply go onto the internet and search for a copyright free image. So I'm going to copy this thing, go back here and paste the link in the book image and hit save, and that is going to save the image for the happiness book. Now if you go to live, let's say this thing also has the same image. So I'm again going to go back here, paste the image, and that is going to save the image, hit save, and your image for both of these books gets stored. Now to check if these images actually appear somewhere, what we will do is that we'll try to display those images onto the index page. So if you go back to the index.html file, and now you could see that you only have a reference to the book name. Now let's assume that you also want to display the image associated with that book. So here what you could do is that you could type in something like image source, so that is going to be imgsrc, and that source is now going to be book underscore image, because the field name is actually book image, so you could basically include that. And once this thing is done, you're pretty much good to go. So you simply save the code, and when you return back here, And if you actually go to books this time, that should be books. As you could see, now we have these two images right here. But as you could make out that these images don't look pretty at all because the title name is quite small and the book image is quite large according to it. So what you need to actually do is that you need to style the entire home page by using Bootstrap. So what I'll be doing is that I'm going to completely copy and paste the code, which is completely going to be the Bootstrap code. It is not going to be anything extra apart from that. So I'm simply going to have some images into my static folder and I'm going to name that thing as something, and I'm basically going to upload this code in the resources section. And the reason why I'm not explaining you guys this thing is because it's completely Bootstrap and Django actually has nothing to do with it. So it's not like I'm not going to explain you guys anything, but the thing is that the code is quite a bit long, and that's the reason I'm basically going to just copy the code rather than just typing that thing over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pause this video, I'm going to copy the code and I'm going to paste it over here, and you will see or notice the change in this page right here. So let me just pause this thing and I'll be back soon. Okay, so this is how our website now actually looks like, and let me just go through the code and explain you what I've done here. So let's start from the header. So this thing actually is called as the Jumbotron. So if I switch back to the code here in index.html, as you could see, this thing right here is the Jumbotron, which is actually a Bootstrap element which you could go ahead and add. So you just need to type in div class column md12 Jumbotron, and that is actually going to load the Jumbotron for you. So this is a normal Jumbotron, and we also have one more Jumbotron right below it, and this is another Jumbotron. And when you actually load a Jumbotron from Bootstrap, it actually does not contain these images. So what I've done here is that I went to the images folder and I have copied certain images here. So this image is a purple one and this one is a yellow one for the background. And what I have done is that I went ahead and went into the style.css file and I've made certain changes to the Jumbotron here. So this thing right here is not much of a code. So what you simply need to do is that you actually need to find images. You actually need to name them back, purple, white and yellow .jpeg, JPG or JPG, and you simply need to copy down this code into your style.css. So I will be providing you with the code and you're free to use any image which you want. And also I will provide you with this code which basically is used to design the entire thing. So this is the layout which I have designed, and let me quickly go through the layout what I have done here. So if you go back to the index.html, what I have done here is that I have used the Bootstrap grid system and I've made the design responsive. So what happens if you actually shrink this is that as you could see, now there are two books, and if you keep on shrinking them, as you could see, now everything shrinks and fits equally. So we could do that by using the Bootstrap grid system, but as this is not a Bootstrap tutorial, I won't be going into much detail. And if you actually study Bootstrap, it's quite simple. It's not much of a difficult thing. It's absolutely simple than Django. So what I've done here is that I have added the book image. So I have basically linked the book image right here, and I have linked the book name and the book author, and I have simply added up two buttons. So I have not written much code over here. So that is one advantage of using Bootstrap, that is you could actually go ahead and finish a lot of work in very less lines of code. And I've also made some changes to the details page. So instead of clicking on this name right here, you simply have to click on this details button right here. And as you could see, this is the details page, and the details page actually has the complete information related to your book. So it basically has a book image, it has the author, it has the price, and it has the category. So these are the changes which I have made in the details page. So I'm also going to provide you with this code so that you don't have to type anything, and this is completely Bootstrap. So what I've essentially done is that we actually used to use the book name, the author name, and we used to display them in a normal format. But what I have done here is that I have surrounded that code with a little bit of Bootstrap so that it appears a little bit better than it was appearing at the beginning. So this is what I have done, and these are some simple changes which you could incorporate. So make sure that you make the following changes. The first change is that you actually need to include these images into your images folder. The next change is that you actually need to replace the index.html code with the code which I'll be providing. Then you need to change the detail.html code, and finally you need to change the style.css code as well. And remember, we have not made any Django changes. This is just Bootstrap, and this is just the designing part. And as you could make out that now our bookstore appears a little bit better than the previous. So if you keep on adding books over here, they are actually going to appear over here. So in one row, you will actually see only 4 books. So if you actually go ahead and shrink this thing up, it is actually going to take less and less of a space, and that is actually going to make the design responsive so that you could even use this thing on a mobile device. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.